Gateway Church founder Robert Morris pleaded guilty Thursday afternoon to 5 counts of child sex abuse charges. Clemishire says the abuse started in the 1980s when she was just 12 years old and continued for several years.
The tragedy of Robert Morris is not just his sin. It's not just his sin, but it's the fact that so many people knew what happened, but they did not say anything. Robert Morris, former pastor of Gateway Church, has recently pled guilty for his crimes against a minor. I want to show you a video here. You'll be able to see everything that's taking place as it relates to where he is in this case. Take a look at this.
The former pastor of Gateway Church in Southlake will spend 6 months in jail after pleading guilty to 5 child sex crimes. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. Robert Morris entered his plea in an Oklahoma courtroom. He must also register as a sex offender and pay restitution to his victim. Fox 4's Amelia Jones has more on today's court appearance. Amelia.
Heather, Steve, in a statement, one of Robert Morris's defense attorneys said he pleaded guilty because he wanted to accept responsibility for his conduct and give his accuser, Cindy Clemishire, and her family finality. Clemishire was there in court and said today is a new beginning.
Gateway Church founder Robert Morris pleaded guilty Thursday afternoon to 5 counts of child sex abuse charges. According to the plea agreement, Morris received a sentence of 10 years probation, with the first 6 months to be spent in an Oklahoma jail. He is also required to register as a sex offender for life and pay his accuser, Cindy Clemishire, $270,000. Clemishire says the abuse started in the 1980s when she was just 12 years old and continued for several years. In June of last year, Morris resigned from Gateway Church after the allegations were made public. In March, he was indicted in Oklahoma on 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child. Clemishire was in court Thursday and gave a statement that said in part, quote, "Today is a new beginning for me, my family, and friends who have been by my side through this horrendous journey. I leave this courtroom today not as a victim, but a survivor." After court, Morris's defense attorney read a statement on his behalf. It said in part, quote, "Tell Ms. Clemishire and her family that he sincerely apologizes for his conduct and asks for their forgiveness." Clemishire has become a vocal advocate for victims of sexual abuse. She testified on the Texas House floor in support of legislation called Trey's Law that protects victims. State Representative Jeff Leach, who represents Collin County, authored the bill. He was also in court Thursday. He sent Fox 4 a statement that said in part, quote, "Going forward, we must do all we can to support abuse victims like Cindy, who had her childhood robbed from her and has had to live with shame and pain for decades before finally seeing justice prevail today." He's still involved in 2 other pending lawsuits. Clemishire filed a lawsuit against Morris and the Gateway Church elders, alleging they knew about the abuse and covered it up. And another one was filed by Morris against Gateway Church to get millions of dollars in retirement pay. Gateway denies that Morris is owed money, but Morris disagrees, alleging it is part of his contract.
All right, so we're finished with this video. I want to say this about this case and this situation. The tragedy of Robert Morris is not just his sin. It's not just his sin, but it's the fact that so many people knew what happened, but they did not say anything. This, is diabolical. It's gross negligence. If you know that a senior pastor is SAing a minor, that's 12. Or you found out about that within the time frame of working at a said church in an executive level or on a board level, you have the responsibility of saying something, speaking up, not being mute and sweeping this thing under a rug. You know, when leaders abuse children, it is evil. But when the church covers it, it's betrayal. That's what it is. They betrayed their role and responsibility in being protectors of their congregants. Now, they could have done something about this a long time ago, but they were more concerned with protecting the church than what happened to this minor. You know, the Bible tells us in Jeremiah 23, verse 1, it says, "Woe to the shepherds who destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture." And that's what's happened to this congregation. They are hemorrhaging members. Hundreds of people have left. Their influence has been greatly diminished. He's put a scarlet letter on the doors of this church. What a travesty and what a shame. There are many people who are possibly going to leave the Christian faith and no longer trust churches because of his actions and the actions of those who knew what took place. God forbid. I want to show you now the video of Robert Morris, his perp walk, where he's being, where he's handcuffed and he's walking to be sentenced. Take a look at this. You know, this is reprehensible. It's reprehensible. You should never have to see a pastor, a man of God, in a situation like that. And them giving him 6 months is a slap on the wrist. I know that it happened decades ago, but also the only way for people to fear repeating behavior like this is that there must be stiff and harsh penalties and or judgments applied to people who do this. I think that they got it wrong in the sentencing, but I'm glad that justice has been served and that Clemishire can now go throughout the rest of her life knowing that she has been vindicated, at least to the point that he acknowledged his wrongdoing. Take a look at this video of Clemishire having words as it relates to this case.
I'm just happy that it is over. I feel good about it. It's behind us. I don't know that I have words for that yet.
Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. She's just glad that justice has been served. Now listen to this. Abuse of power is a sin against God. Just because you are in authority, just because you are a leader, just because you are a pastor, doesn't mean that you have the right to abuse your power. These things happen all the time because pastors can sometimes take upon a God complex where people think that they can't go against them and or disagree with them just because they are in the role of a shepherd. If there's someone that's leading and doing things that are nefarious, as a congregant, you do not have to submit to that. All right. Now, we do want to be submissive to authority, to walk in the spirit of temperance and humility, but you should not feel like you have to be abused in the process of doing so. Leaders are entrusted with protecting God's flock, not preying on God's flock. And that is the problem in this case. See, the rebuke is this. Robert Morris used his position to exploit the vulnerable, a grave sin and betrayal of God's calling. And then he wanted money from the church. It's like, does he not have any embarrassment? Does he not have a filter? In the process of these things being unearthed, you want millions of dollars from your congregation? I mean, how does that work? You see, accountability should have been immediate. Proverbs 27 verse 5 says, better is open rebuke than hidden love. If your brother sins, rebuke him. And if he repents, forgive him. That's Luke 17 verse 3. Gateway leaders knew or suspected wrongdoing and did not act. That's corrupt. By delaying, they allowed decades of harm and dishonor to Christ's name. And consider the mental anguish and the torment that Clemishire had to contend with as a result of never having true justice. You see, justice delayed is justice denied. Ecclesiastes 8 verse 11 says, because the sentence against an evil deed is not executed speedily, the heart of the children of man is fully set to do evil. If justice is not served, then the person who defrauds a person, the person who's guilty, they will continue on as if they did no wrong because no justice was served. And Gateway Church assisted in delaying justice. Correcting vulnerable people is a Christian duty. It is. Matthew 18 verse 6 says, whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depth of the sea. Victims must always come before the institution or reputation of a ministry. Gateway prioritized image and leadership over the safety of children, directly contradicting Jesus's command. You see, transparency and confession are required. Luke 8:17 says, nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. That's Luke 8:17. James 5:16 says, confess your sins one to another and pray for one another. Leaders minimized abuse with vague language like moral failure. Now, how do you call a relationship that's inappropriate? I'm trying to say the best things while I'm on YouTube because they are finicky with certain terms. So don't think that I'm not trying to put the full weight on this topic. But you can't call an inappropriate relationship with a minor a simple moral failure. Oh, no. You just can't write it off as that. No. No, this is a category 5 error. That is grounds for termination and turning a person in. Nope, you can't do that. You can't do that. I've been a youth pastor, or let me say it this way. I served as a youth pastor for close to, 12 years or so. And I didn't take it lightly or my job lightly when I even had an inkling or thought that there might be someone who may have a nefarious thought towards a child. Now, luckily, we never ran into that, thank God. But I made sure I led in a way where if that were to happen, people knew that you are going to be in deep trouble, because before law enforcement comes and gets you, you're going to have to deal with me. And that is the kind of mindset that we have to expect that pastors will have when it comes to defending minors and defending children. It's a child. The child deserves to be protected, not exploited, and not taken advantage of. You see, grace does not cancel consequences, okay? Galatians 6 verse 7 says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever one sows, he will reap. Forgiveness and grace can be offered, but they never remove legal or moral consequences. Justice has been served in this case. And I pray that this woman who was defrauded at the age of 12, I pray that she can heal and get on with her life for the rest of her days. Let me know what you think below, my friends, in the comment section. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I weak or am I strong? God bless you, my friends, and God bless America. Do me a big favor, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take care.